success, drag racing since, foundation of Top Fuel and others, but here we go with HEMI Challenge.
Round number 1 of eliminations. There were 24 cars that were on the entry list. 22 of them made it onto the ladder, and we are kicking things off right away with James Hensler in the left lane and Jason Line in the right. That spectacular fish stick machine taking on the HEMI Hillbilly. James Hensler, who's from right here in Indiana. Jason Line, from up in Minnesota, spends his time in North Carolina. Engine builder, Pro Stock world champion, one of the greatest drag racers in NHRA history when it comes to naturally aspirated combinations. One of the best engine builders in the world. Put this car together with Bucky Hess and the team and said, we're going to come out here and kick everybody's booty at the U.S. Nationals. Red light Hensler. And the first pair of the HEMI Challenge off and running. Jason Line is going to round 2 with an 0.79 reaction time and an 8.47 at 158 miles per hour. And Jason Line immediately comes out swinging. Answering that one, the car up in the 860s. It's why he took a shot at the Christmas tree. He knew he had to get it done, and he could not. Now here comes Bucky Hess's machine, right behind Jason Line. Auto body shop owner out of West Virginia. Won the first HEMI Challenge, taking on Mike Skinner. 2 more Barracudas. It predominantly Barracuda field here. There are a handful of the darts, but a lot of Barracudas. Jump in here, Mike. Come on, yeah.
You might remember this car. This is the Spyfish car, Stephen Hebert from Louisiana. And Bucky Hess, the man that needs no introduction for a HEMI car, had one since 1975.
Sportsman tree comes down, back-to-back red lights. Mike Skinner's 27 red. Bucky Hess 139. Again, the performance put Mike Skinner at a big disadvantage. 845, 157 miles per hour for Bucky Hess. It is fast, fast, fast out there, Mr. McCann.
Doing that with a foot brake automatic car. Look at this. The star just showed up.
We were waiting for her to jump on up in here. Correction factor right now, 1092. It's not exactly screaming horsepower conditions out there right now, as Jim Pancake's going to come up here next over on the left side of the track, and Jerry Casson over here on the right side of the track, and Herb McCandless, the 1970 winner of the U.S. Nationals in that Sox Martin machine in Pro Stock, jumping up here. Down there, buddy, got to take some pictures. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Buddy and I are having a great time up here. This is just fantastic.
Round 1 of the HEMI Challenge. This event here on Friday at the U.S. Nationals, 22 of these cars here this weekend. They spent 364 days preparing for today.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, this is our 22nd event. I have been right here for every one of them.
That is awesome. It's great to have you back up here.
I love it.
Jim Pancake left, Jerry Caston on the right. Now Pancake had lane choice here. That yellow machine on the left side of the track out of Ohio has been pretty sporty qualifying, and it's Pancake off the starting line first with an 0.35 reaction time and driving away from Jerry Caston to the top end to go 8.48 at 158 miles per hour. 8.81 for Jerry Caston. Caston actually steps up both those cars, make improvement qualifying, and Jim Pancake 8.48 at 158 tells you that this could be the quickest session of the weekend. 35 on the tree is pretty sporty there, boss.
Jim did really good there.
Eldon Baum and Rick Johnson. Rick Johnson's machine was carrying that onboard camera for the NHRA and Fox folks out in Brainerd a couple of weeks ago. These cars are super stock legal. If you look at the windows, they all say SSAH, super stock A HEMIs. They can also run these cars in Comp Eliminator and, of course, here at the HEMI Challenge.
That's where we all started out.
Right?
SSAH, yeah. No, I didn't have the automatic.
Had to do it the hard way back then.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Cuda on the right, the dart on the left. That belongs to Eldon Baum out of Pennsylvania. Wow, I don't know what Eldon's looking at, but it wasn't the Christmas tree. Rick Johnson's 35. Does he have enough race car? No, he does not. Rick Johnson's car goes 8.83, his best run of the weekend, but it's nowhere near what he needs to run. Eldon Baum, 8.49, 157. I guess what Eldon was probably looking at was Rick to make sure that he didn't turn it red because he knew he had that performance advantage. Best run of the weekend for Charlie Westcott and Steve Kent. When everybody heard Charlie Westcott was jumping back into this race this weekend, they went, boxing gloves, taking them off.
Well, he's been the lead engine builder for quite a few years, and very, very good stuff.
The Kudo over there on the left side. Charlie out of Michigan. Snaps it loose 032, and Steve Kent's car goes quiet on the starting line. Charlie Westcott gets a free ride in round 2 here at the Sox Martin HEMI Challenge. 847, 158 miles per hour. And Charlie Westcott, looking for his 6th win in this event, moves into the next round. Herb McCandless up here in the booth with us here for round number 1. Steve Camello's number 1 qualifier went 842. Jim Pancake's number 6, he went 850.
Yeah.
800ths of a second there, but in one of these things, when you're foot braking, leaving out the bottom bulb, it's pretty easy to find 800ths of a second versus your opponent.
Oh yeah, you can do that at the starting line. You really can.
Eric Bell, it appears, going to have a competition buy run here. Jack Peterson can't make the call.
I met Eric yesterday. I didn't realize who the gentleman was. He's a baseball pitcher.
Eric Bell was a professional baseball player for a long time. Colorado Rockies and the other organizations. He still works in baseball. Runs a baseball school down there in Chandler, Arizona. Runs this machine. Was the number 9 qualifier. Now, Eric Bell has been sneaking up on performance on this machine. And Eric Bell does a lot of bottom bulb racing out on the West Coast. He runs super stock at a lot of the divisionals out there, the national events as well. So he could definitely pick himself up something on the starting line. And he has the advantage here around number 1 with Jack Peterson unfortunately breaking. Means he doesn't necessarily have to leg this car out and use up if he doesn't want to. Into high gear goes Eric Bell's machine. Is he going to run it out? Yeah, why not? 851, 158, finds 300ths of a second, and Eric Bell's machine officially enters its name. This is David Bogner and Anthony Rhodes, another spectacular machine. Anthony Rhodes, Candy Kudo over on the right side of the track, and the Bogner Auto machine on the left, the Barracuda out of Nebraska. Anthony Rhodes was the number 5 qualifier. He has won this race before. Another car that has a real opportunity of going the distance here today.
That car definitely has the potential to go to the finals, no question about it. A lot of these cars do.
No question.
Yeah,
no question.
They do. You know, used to there was 2 or 3 or 4, but now it's a whole different ball game.
Oh. Wow, Anthony Rhodes is 243, but he knows he's got performance in the bank. The motor's just got to stay in that car, and on the top end, Anthony Rhodes drives around 846, 158 miles per hour. David Bogner knew he had to take a shot at the tree. Goes 16 on the tree, and Anthony Rhodes, quickest run of the weekend in HEMI Challenge, does it in eliminations.
Right, that doesn't surprise me that he went that fast. Yeah.
James Daniels and Dennis Bergeron now over on the right side of the racetrack.
Jimmy Daniels is dangerous to watch out for. Jimmy won like 4 of these in a row one time.
He did. Yeah. And that's a Ray Barton machine. You see striped down the side of that dart over on the Sox Martin side of the racetrack. It's so cool to have a lane here. This is Sox Martin lane, isn't it?
Jimmy is an excellent driver. He really is.
Bergeron over on the strange side of the racetrack, that maroon machine. Various colored stripes along the bottom of the starting line, pretty even. Advantage Jimmy Daniels by 13 thousandths of a second. And in qualifying performance, this race should be history. 8:46.8, 158. Jimmy Daniels driving away from Dennis Bergeron to move on to the next round. And over the last 10 years or so in these machines, Herb, Steve Camella has been as hard a racer to beat as anybody.
He came right up the ladder, and he's right now on top of the ladder, and he's been there for a couple, 3 years now.
He's got the camouflage scheme up on top of that machine. Steve Camella, the number 1 qualifier here.
Him and his dad are 2 of the nicest people you could ever run into. They really are.
Steve and Chuck, they're out of New York. Steve's actually an anesthesiologist.
Yes.
In his free time when he's not busy racing one of these machines. Has won this event 3 times. Has won the Dutch Hemi Shootout a handful of times. Has won other national events throughout his career as well, and drops a 009 on the starting line with nobody in the other lane. Talk about putting the rest of the class on notice. 840, 159. Steve Camella, low ET and top speed of the Sox Martin HEMI Challenge, presented by the McCandless Collection. Unbelievable run for Steve Camella. Terry Irwood gets a bye run here. Steve Yannis could not make the call. The number 10 qualifier, one of the quicker cars in the field, is out, and Terry Irwood goes 9:02, the slowest run of the round, to move into the next round. Hey, sometimes it's not about who you race, It's about the luck you get to get there.
Oh, yeah. You'd rather be lucky than fast any day.
Cleve Stewart's machine not making the call in round one. Means Wendell Howe is going to get a bye run here. The number 12 qualifier and the dart over on the right side.
Terry Earwood's probably made about as many passes down this track as any Hemi racer.
No question about it.
He was here in the early 70s driving for Steve Bagwell and won a couple times here in Superstock.
And Mark Howe's machine over on the right side here. We've got one of the darts that are going to move into the next round. Lloyd Wofford pulling up behind him also. It looks like going to have a bye run here. Have a couple of these machines. They're running these cars so hard, Irvin. It's inevitable that you're going to have some breakage throughout the weekend.
Well, we got 5 runs today to make. 5 rounds. So that's a lot.
It is a war of attrition as much as it is a war of performance. Wendell Howes is 43 on the tree. Let's see if this car can dip into the 60s for the first time this weekend.
Well, 1970, we had a 32-car field, so we had to make 5 runs.
Right.
With a real 4-speed where you push clutch down, shifts and gears. Lloyd Wofford's up here. I put Lloyd in a Hemi car in 1977. Like scared him to death. He loved it.
It scared him to death so much he went and bought one.
I built him one. And just one of the nicest people. They do their own engines. They don't buy engines from anybody. They do their Jerry Cairo and James. That's James Cairo with the headset on right behind the car there. And they do their own stuff and do a very good job at it. They had some trouble leaving the starting line twice yesterday. I was getting worried. And then they put it together for the last round.
The Engines Incorporated team out of Arkansas, off and running on the tree for Lloyd. Into high gear it goes. And at the stripe, Lloyd makes his best run of the weekend, 868, 453 miles per hour. So Lloyd Wofford makes a nice representative run. And just like that, we're done with round number 1, Herb. It just flew on by.
This is the Sox Martin McCandless Hemi Challenge. Here we go. First pair coming up, we're going to have a couple of CUDAs, including the Candy CUDA. Here we go. First pair coming up, we're going to have a couple of CUDAs, including the Candy CUDA of Anthony Rhodes and Lloyd Wofford, the businessman from down in Arkansas. These are 1968 model. They only did it 1 year. Barracudas and darts. 426 Hemi under the hood. You can run a 4-speed or an automatic, and we've got a pretty good selection of both. They're fast, they're fun, they're absolutely spectacularly beautiful. Every time I look at these cars, I mean, you look at especially stuff like came out of Bucky's shop, and look at the time and money that went into the paint.
Oh, yeah.
You guys basically just make sure the sponsor logo's on it, spend all the money on the engine.
Oh, yeah. That's all we had. We didn't have any money to do a paint job like that. But I put Lloyd Wofford in his first Hemi car.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
He must be hating you.
No, well, his third wife said I cost him $3 million. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, he's the reason. You're the reason he doesn't have a bigger boat. It's heads up. It's flat out. It's Hemi cars at Indy. It is a tradition that goes back to 1968. Pro Stock was born from cars just like this more than 50 years ago.
Lloyd called me, wanted me to build him a race car. And I said, why don't you build a real car? He said, what's that? I said, a Hemi car. He said, all thing I know about that is the valve covers and spark plugs in the middle of the valve cover.
Both riders getting away. Having a double-O light for Lloyd Wofford. Has he got enough power to hold off coming down to the stripe? A couple of singing Hemi Barracudas. Finish line. No, Wofford can't hold on. 8:46 for Anthony. 158 miles an hour. A 008 for Lloyd Wofford. That was solid. Anthony Rhodes a 119 at 60 feet. Man, that is getting it early.
Oh, yeah. Those cars are capable of just doing amazing things. They really are. Now, this is Terry Earwood up at the starting line now. He's probably made as many passes down this track as anybody in the Hemi car. Terry's been around for a long time. He won back here in the early 70s in Superstock cars.
Yeah, but Charlie Westcott, the legendary engine builder, he's driving the Carolina CUDA over there on the left side. Westcott had not been competing. If you guys remember the old Hemi Militia, the Warfish and those cars, that is Charlie Westcott. He decided to come out of retirement and see if he can get himself one more trophy here. Oh, this time the reaction time goes to Earwood. Earwood, the number 21 qualifier. I'm not sure he's got enough race car. I'm sure now he ain't got enough race car. 8:49, 157 miles an hour. Charlie Westcott moving on by. Terry goes 9:02 at 145. Had the light, didn't have the car. You know, a lot of these drivers and cars will bring these in just to run the Hemi Challenge, but they won't enter the U.S. Nationals because the bragging rights, the trophy, the cash for winning this makes it worthwhile. That'll bring Bucky Hess in the left side. The Psycho CUDA. Talk about Psycho. That thing's an automatic without a trans brake. He's foot braking it. And Jimmy HEMI here and just ran roughshod over this thing for about 4 years in a row with that Ray Barton backed Hemi.
I talked to Jimmy yesterday. He said these guys had caught up with him. He said that's what's bothering him right now.
Bucky Hess, number 2 qualifiers, got an engine in that thing by Jason Line. Yes, that Jason Line, who we'll talk more about in a minute. Slight advantage, Jimmy Daniels off the starting line. But Bucky Hess has got the quicker car, at least down low. The Psycho Cooter, the finish line stripe's going to take it. 845, 156 miles an hour. 851 plus the reaction advantage for Jimmy Daniels. Not enough for the Dart. So let's see, apparently, you've got to be able to run 40s if you want to advance. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Eric Bell, the former baseball player. That's the Barracuda over in the left side. Railing in here out of Chandler, Arizona. And Jason Line, the man himself, the engine builder. He's got his own shop now down in North Carolina where he does R&D, builds engines, and does projects. He's also making his own blocks and heads and various other stuff. They call this thing the fish stick because Jason said, I ain't driving a car with an automatic in it.
Well, another thing about Jason, he's one of the nicest people you'll meet. He really is. He's a great person and very smart.
Very bright guy. Grew up in a racing family in Minnesota, went to work at Joe Gibbs in the engine department, and then a whole lot of years over at TV working on race cars. Jason with the starting line advantage, but he is dropping back. Check it out. The fish stick is going home, and Eric Bell, 8:55, 157 the speed. Jason looked like he was in good shape until it was time to put that thing in third gear, and Eric Bell taking care of business and moving on. Who saw that coming? And here comes Eldon Baum in the left side.
Steven showed out there in that first round. He went up on a bye run with OET for the weekend.
That car's been mean. I mean, Camella was the number 1 qualifier. That's got a Westcott motor under the hood. And Steve Camella, I believe that's an original Hemi car, is it not?
I think so. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell nowadays. They do so much to them.
I remember the story about, like, it was delivered to the dealer. One of the salesmen blew the thing up. Chrysler said there ain't no warranty on those things. They stuffed it in the back. I believe that's the car. They went and bought it with the engine in the trunk. But it was an original Hemi car.
That'd be a good way to buy a lot cheaper.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I'm just trying to picture the salesman going, what do you mean no warranty?
Well, the stock oil pan wasn't designed to do what that motor can do.
Camella most of the weekend has looked like the man to beat. Let's see if he can hold off the Dart going down to the finish line stripe. And he does. 844, 158 miles an hour. I wouldn't say that he's got a clear-cut advantage over the rest of the field, but he's still got him a good car. Eddie Baum goes 856. 156 miles an hour. According to my sheet, we should have 1 pair left, and I see a pair down on the starting line. Jim Pancake and Wendell Howes. Well, here comes the Dart Brigade.
Jim's car's been really fast.
Yeah, it has. Qualified in the number 6 spot. Wendell Howes sitting down there in the number 12 spot. Pancake rolling in here out of Ohio. Wendell out of New Brunswick, and they have got generations of family racing down here this weekend. But I don't think anybody's got a cooler car than this one. Winner of this going to come back and take on Eric Bell with Jason Line becoming a spectator all of a sudden. Opens up that side of the ladder. A double 03 line for Wendell.
A double 03. That's amazing. He ought to go bracket racing.
Not going to be enough, however. 8.508 for Jim Pancake. Jim's going to come back and he's going to run Eric Bell in the next round. I got Bucky taking on Mr. Rhodes, Steve Camella, and Charlie Westcott. That's going to be the next round of the Sox Martin HEMI Challenge. Drove it on the street.
Yeah, I drove it from the motel to the drag strip. I run it up to Grother and got my gold card.
I'm thinking that if you tried to do that these days, even if the car would make it, I think that if somebody pulled you over, that they'd probably have a little less sense of humor about it than they had in those days.
Oh, today they'd lock you up, yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled in the gate, and the guy said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to run pro stock." In the pits.
Jim Pancake in the left side. Eric Bell in the right side. We've got 6 cars left. This will get you to the semifinals. Jim Pancake trying to uphold the honor of dart lovers everywhere. And Eric Bell trying to make sure Barracudas carrying the lug, and the wheels up charge for Eric Bell. He is flying down the boulevard. Can he hold off down to the finish line stripe? Not going to happen. 8:47 to an 8:47. Jim Pancake. Hey, dart lovers, we still got a shot at this. That was a pretty good drag race. Well, here we go. The engine builder on the left side and the number one qualifier on the right side. You think that Steve Camella's going, yo, Chuck?
Steve's a pretty calm guy. He really is.
He better be. He's in the medical field. The last thing I want, if you're in the emergency room, the last thing I want is a guy who panics a lot.
Yeah. I think Steve's on his way.
They're getting away clean. The red car was the number one qualifier. His engine builder in the other lane, and his engine builder cannot get him. Camella's going to go on 8:44. Another great race to an 8:46. So Steve Camella, who opened.
This is probably some of the closest ones that we've had over the years.
Great things about this over the years, and it's one of the reasons I think we're so glad that you and Sox Martin, the McCandless collection, everything are keeping this thing going, is because the money's been pumped in over the years, so the cars have been built, and they continue to refine them, and they continue to get the performance better and better and better until we can see races like this.
Yeah, and they're getting them more dependable.
Yeah.
Those things are pretty rough on parts.
Well, here come a couple of cars out of the same paint shop. Bucky Hess in the left side. The Psycho Cuda, automatic transmission and a foot brake. And Anthony Rhodes over here on the right side driving the Candy Cuda. The Bucky's LTD, that's Bucky's business, the body shop. His kid, Travis, or Tukey, is just an absolute magician with an airbrush. You don't have to take my word for it, just look.
Oh, he's the best there is. There's no question about it. Bucky's done a great job foot braking today.
Red light start for Rhodes. Bucky will have a free ride to the final round. Comes up with an 8:46 to an 8:46. Again, the car's almost identical as far as laps time and performance. You can't be late,
No.
but you also can't be early.
That's as close a runs, ET-wise, as I can ever remember.
You weren't going to advance. Of course, that's the voice of the legendary Herb McCandless joining me up here in the booth. Jim Pancake, Steve Camella, a couple of really hard-charging Hemi cars out there, Herb.
Oh, yeah, both of them have been flying today. Well, the last 6 of them were all flying. That's the best way to describe it. Al and I were up here a while ago. We were just amazed at how close every run was.
Absolutely. Steve Camella, your number one qualifier over the right-hand side, coming out of New York. Been down in the low 840 range. Jim Pancake out of Ohio over in the left lane. The Dart.
Well, Camella tends to pull some more out of the hat when he needs it. We'll see if he can do it here. Jim's been really good. This is one of the best races Jim's had all year.
Yes, sir. Winner gets Bucky Hess in the final round. Advantage at the tree by a couple of hun to Steve Camella. He is out front at half track, and it's going to be Steve Camella going 8.407, 159 miles an hour. A booming run in the semifinals for Steve. Pancake gave it a great ride, 8:44. I believe that's his best run of the weekend.
That's one of his best runs I've ever seen him make.
Great run for Jim, but not quite enough to get around your number one qualifier. And here comes the Psycho Cuda, Bucky Hess.
I told you Camella tends to pull out a little bit when he needs it.
And he absolutely did right there.
Yes, he did. He needed every bit of it. Well, he had the best light. He had 11 until 19, I think it was. So that's, that's worth a little bit right there.
Absolutely. Bucky Hess, Bunker Hill, West Virginia-based machine, won the very first Hemi Challenge right here at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park.
The best feeling in the world is put it in second gear, look out the window, and you're a little bit in front. That's a good feeling.
Beautiful launch for Bucky Hess, 004. He runs it out about 330 and shuts it down. Opts to save it for the final round.
I don't blame him the least bit. I mean, this is serious now. We're down to the final. Don't go out.
And a huge hole shot advantage for Steve Camella.
That's over.
Camella to the 8th mile at 5:33, and Camella goes 8:39 with a 6 at 159 miles an hour.
Now, if they'd had exact reaction times, would that have been a race of 41 to a 39?
It would have been within 100th of a second or less, and you just saw Steve Camella rocket off the line.
And yet again, you're back-to-back winner of the Sox and Martin HEMI Challenge is this guy right here, Steve Camella. How do you make it look so easy?
Oh, I was afraid you were going to ask me that. If it looked easy, then that's the best trick I pulled all week. This was a war. I knew it was going to be war, uphill the entire way, no fun. Thanks for making it sound like it was easy, but it was not.
When you have the presentation here with Buddy Martin right next to you, what goes through your mind?
Oh, I mean, there's the whole start of it. I'm not standing here without these guys.
Congratulations to Steve Camella, Buddy. When you go see the challenge here today, what was that like for you?
Oh, it was unbelievable. If you get emotional, you know, there's no doubt.
We thank you for being here, sir. And Steve, I know how heavy that trophy is. Enjoy it.